Good day. Welcome to grade 7. This is percentages. So just the definition of a percentage. A percentage, it is a fraction with a denominator, and the denominator is the bottom part of the fraction. And so the percentage is where the bottom part of the fraction is 100. So just keep in mind, a percentage can be written different ways, but it's also a fraction with a denominator of 100. So let's do some examples. So I just want to show you, if you have something like this, 75%, what does it really mean? It means, like we said earlier, the denominator will be 100. So if you have a 75%, this is the percent part, then we actually just say that answer is 75 over 100. So if you have 48%, that just means it equals 48 over 100. So any percent means that number divided by 100. Let me just show you something else. If you have the 75%, just look at this part over here. If you look carefully, it looks like a 1 and a 0 and a 0. So let me just write it differently. 75, I'm going to make the percent, I'm going to make this line, I'm going to make it blue, and I'm going to make the two circles, I'm going to make green. Because what I want to show you is this, that this 75 actually means 75 divided by, now just look at this 100, I'm going to take this blue, becomes a 1, and both of these zeros over here, that's a 1 0, and that becomes 0, and here's the other 0. So if you look at this part, it is actually standing for 100. If you look closely, there's a line, like I say, the blue is the 1, there's the 1, and the two circles or dots that will give you the zeros of the 100. So anything, if you write 68%, so that you can write as, let's just write the colors again. The line is the blue and the two circles, and that actually stands for 68 over 100. But you can see both of them, the blue and the two circles, is in the percentage over here. So that's how I like to think of it, and remember that a percent is when the denominator, this part over here, is equal to 100. You just keep that in mind. I learned that when I was very small, and every time when I see a percentage, I still see the 100 over here, the 1 and the 0 and the 0. This 1, 0 and 0, and there's the 1, 0, 0. So that's just to visualize yourself what a percentage means. Okay? So let's do something more different. So if you have a percent, like I said, say 25%, that you can write as 25 divided by 100. But in mathematics, there's a couple of percentages that are very important for you to remember, that you can maybe write down now, because you're going to use it quite a lot going forward. And one of it is 25%, which is 25 over 100. But if you simplify it further, you will get 1 divided by 4, which is a quarter. I just want to stay here for a while. Firstly, I just want to show you how I got from 25 over 100. Now I got from there to a quarter. So I'm just going to spend some time with this. If you didn't do this yet, you might do it next year, but I'm just showing you so that you can already know. So if you have something like this, this is not simplified yet. So I'm going to simplify this 25 over 100. And how I do that, I'm going to use, I can use a 25 times table, but for you, I'm going to use the 5 times table. So let's just write out the 5 times table. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20. Let's continue. 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and I'm going on until I'm going to get 100. 55, 60, then 65, 70, 75, 80, and last line 85, 90, 95, 100. So I just want to show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take this 25 over here, and I'm going to say 25 divided by 5. But if I do that at the top, I must do it at the bottom also. So 25 divided by 5. Let's see the 5 times table. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 25 is the 5th number. So that answer is 5. 100, if you count 100 divided by 5, I use the 5 times table. And if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that answer is 20. But you can see you can still simplify it further because there's still a 5 and a 20. So I'm going to say again 5 divided by 5 and 20 divided by 5. So that answer is going to be 5 divided by 5. If you list, that's 1. And 20 divided by 5. Look at the 5 times table. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you get to 4. So here you can see how 25 divided by 100 eventually ends up to 1 over 4. So a quarter is, like I mentioned, an important number. So you must please remember it. I'm just going to show you another thing. So you have the 25 over 100. So like I said, that's 25%. I'm just writing it differently, and that's a quarter. So you must just remember all of this. I just want to show roughly what a quarter means. If you have a circle, think of a pizza. You all like a pizza. You have a pizza that maybe looks like this. So there, usually it's got a lot of slices. Usually they slice it in 8. Let me see, is this right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this just means there's 8 slices in a pizza. So one slice will be 1 over 8. So if you take this slice over here, so this is just one part, but there's 8 parts in total. So one part is 1 over 8. If you take 2 parts, that is 2 over 8. And if you simplify this further, you'll get 2 divided by 2 is 1, 8 divided by 2 is 4, and then you get to a quarter. So that means this piece over here, which is 2/8, is actually the same as a quarter. And what does a quarter mean? It just means you can take, let me draw the pizza again. It means you can take it now, and if you cut it in 4, so that's 4 big slices. Then one slice you can think of is a quarter, one big slice. So this is 1. So here's still slice 2, slice 3, slice 4 of the 4 slices. So that is just how you can visualize this quarter over here, what a quarter means, or what does 1 over 8 means. So just try to write it down or draw it for yourself so that you can just at least identify with it. So any circle, any number that we're going to do, and like you see, we took up a number. I'm just going to write this other way around, just this part, so that we start with a percentage. And then that percentage is this number over 100, and which is a quarter. So I'm just trying to show you how something like 25% is actually a circle that are divided by 4. And this says us that's 1 over 4. It can also be a square that is divided by 4. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, and one of the parts is a quarter. So that is how you can visualize percentage, this over here, to a fraction, 25 over 100, to a smaller fraction, a quarter, and now you can see it's actually a quarter, 1 part of a part of 4, all right? So let's do a couple of percentages, and then we just see, can we identify it differently as well? So then we have 50%. So what is 50%? If you write it as a fraction, is a 50 divided by how much? 100. If you can't remember the 100, just be like me. I remember the 1 and I remember the 2 zeros. So that's how I remember it. 50 divided by 100. That answer is a half. So that's just something you must keep in your mind as well. Maybe write this down. So a half, and again, what is a half? You can look at the circle, but a half means now this is going to be 2 parts. So I'm going to split the circle only in 2, 1 and 2. So 1 part of the circle, that is going to be a half. And also, let's just show you while I'm busy with this, if you have the same circle we had earlier, which we cut in 4. So if you say how much is 3 parts, 1, 2, 3 parts of this whole circle, then it's 3 divided by 4. Because the circle has got 4 in this instance. So this is 1, 2, 3 divided by 4. And on this one on the left is only 1 divided by 2. All right, let's do another percentage that's important. So then you have 75%. I'm just going to write it more to the bottom. 75%, that equals 75 divided by 100, and that one equals 3 over 4, or 3/4. That's just the one we talked about now. So that's 3 that you must remember. I'm going to do another couple of others that's also important. Then we have 100%. So what is 100%? It's the same like the other one. 100 divided by the 100. So just remember the bottom 100 here, that's the percentage part over there. And that answer equals 1. So 100 divided by 100 is 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. What is 5 divided by 5? That answer is 1. What is 7 divided by 7? That answer is 1. What is 10 divided by 10? That answer is 1. That's why 100 divided by 100 is equal to 1. So let's see what else is there. You also get a 10%, which equals 10 divided by 100. And that answer is 1 over 10. So that is something you must remember. Then you have 20%, which is 20 divided by 100. That is 2 over 10. And you can already see if it's 20%, it's 2 over 10. 10% is 1 over 10. And now you can continue. 40% equals 40 40 over 100, which is 4 over 10. 60% equals 6 over 10. And now you can see anything that's got a 0. And this is just the ones that's got a 0, the big numbers. That equals 8 over 10. And for completeness sake, you can just write 100 equals 10 over 10, but 10 divided by 10 equals to 1. So that's just another one that you can keep in mind. Then I just want to show you something last. 25%, like we mentioned, that is 1 over 4. But also, you can write the 25% as, if you now talk about a decimal, it's going to be 0.25. Why? Because you have the 25 divided by the 100, and here you have 2 zeros. And if you have the 2 zeros, then you have 0 point, but at the back is also 2 zeros. That's why you have the 25. So please look at my grade 7 video with the title decimals, because in there I just explain exactly how to work with decimals and how to identify decimals. So that was 25 over 100. So 50% will give us 0.50. 75% will give us 0.75. So there's just a lot of different things that you must remember, but I'm just explaining how you get to it. Same with the other one. We did the 60%, so that will equal 0.60. I always write both here just to so that that looks exactly the same. And the 10%, that will be 0.10. So that was just, now you convert from a percentage to a decimal. What you see in front of you is just a summary of all the percentages that we've discussed now. So just maybe pause at this stage. I'm going to show you 3 different pages. So maybe just pause, write it down somewhere, and keep it handy, because you're going to need this in high school as well. So this is only grade 7, but if you go grade 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, you're going to need these percentages as well. That's why it's always good just to keep it somewhere. So if we are going to do some questions later, then you can identify it quickly, or at least know how everything fits into each other. For example, you will know 25% equals a quarter, or 50% is 0.5, or 75% is 3 over 4. So that is the kind of things that you can remember quickly. So that's the first page. You can pause and then just write this down. The second page is this one. So I've just identified everything for you. So I just want to highlight this here. So this gives 2 over 10, but if you simplify 2 over 10 further, you get 1 over 10. And here you get 4 over 10, so sorry, 2 over 10 is 1 over 5, and 4 over 10 is 2 over 5. And 5 over 10, that's equal to a half. So I just want to show that for you, that you can just identify it. So you can pause the video, and then you can write these percentages down just like this, so that you can use it in future. The last page is just this one. Again, pause the video and just please write it down. Now, what I want to show you is if you have a percent, like a fraction like 3 over 5, they might say, for example, convert fraction to a percentage? So that is what they might ask you. So you know now already, 3/5, if you look on your page, that is 60%. So if you go to your pages that you wrote down, you can see 3/5 is 60%. But in the exam, you can't just write it down. It's good if you have the answer, but what we are going to do is just, I'm going to show you how to get to the answer of 60%. So if you have this, you have 3/5, and if you want to convert it to a percent, you just multiply this by 100/1. So that is what you do. You just multiply the fraction by 100/1. And now you have to do some simplification. So then you just say 5 divided by 5 is 1. And whatever we do at the bottom, we do on top. So if we say 5 divided by 5 is 1, we have to say 100 divided by 5. That gives us 20. Now what we do, we multiply the 3 with the 20 and the 1 with the 1. So on top, we are going to get 3 times 20, that is 60. And at the bottom, we are going to get the 1. So the answer is going to be 60, but that actually means 60%. So here you can see how the 3/5, if you convert it, you get to 60%. Now you can actually take any percentage that we did earlier. So let's take 7/10. So how do you convert that? You know the answer is 70% if you look on your page, but let's see if we can convert it properly. So you take the 7/10, you multiply it by 100/1. Let's do some maths. So 10 divided by 10 is 1. 100 divided by 10 is 10. And then 7 times 10, that equals 70. And the 1 times 1 is just 1. So 70/1, that's 70%. And that is how you can do anything. So let's take something more different that might look like this. So this is now a fraction that I didn't show you before, but it's the same process. Take that, multiply by 100/1. Let's see if we can simplify. So I'm going to take this 25 divided by 25. So I'm just going to show you what I did there at the bottom. So I'm going to say 25 divided by 25. That answer is 1. There's the 1. Then I'm going to say 100 divided by 25, and that answer is 4. So there's the 4. So what do I have now? I have the 8 times 4. That gives us 32. And 1 times 1, that gives us 1. And that answer is, going to make some space here at the bottom. Answer is 32%. So anything you can do like that now. I'm going to speed it up a little, but you can just pause and just use the previous methods. So 15/50, you can just say times 100/1. 50 divided by 50 is 1. 100 divided by 50 is 2. And then 100 times 2, that gives us 30/1. That answer is 30%. So this you can do for anything. Anything, and that is how you convert from a fraction to a percentage. They might also ask you something like this. What is 20% of 80? So what that means, I'm going to do it a couple of ways and just show you how you can get to the answer anyway. So the 20%, what does it mean? It means 20/100. You can look on your page, but you are now already know 20% means 20/100. This of actually means multiply. You can write the multiplication, and there is the 80. Oops. Just want to write the 8 more clearer. So now you have 20 over 100 multiplied by 80. I'm just going to write it better to understand. So that's 20 over 100 times 80 over 1. And as you can see, now it's almost like the same sum we had earlier. So let's divide. So I want to show you something separate before we get to this. So if we have something where we have, say, 10 over 100. So if there's, you can see a lot of zeros. So what you can do, you can literally just say the zeros cancel out. Then the answer is 1 over 10. But what did I actually do? I took the 10 over 100 and I divided that by 10 and divided that by 10. And therefore my answer was 10 divided by 10 is 1. And 100 divided by 10, that gives us 10. So that's why you can do that. So anything, let me just make some space. So anything where you have a divide by 10, for example, like I said again, say 150 divided by, or where you have zeros, you can literally just cancel the zeros out. And now I'm going to come to this part over here. So let's look at this part. So what I'm going to do now, you see there's a 0 and there's a 0. So if you use the same principle, they can just cancel out. But there's another 0 on the bottom, and this is multiplication. So if this is a multiplication and you see a 0 at the bottom and a 0 at the top, then that 2 zeros can cancel out. So now you remain only with 2 times 8. That equals, let's make space here, 2 times 8 equals 16, and 1 times 1, that gives us 1. So therefore the answer is 16%. Not 16%, that is just 16, sorry. So that is just if you multiply. The previous one where you have to work out the percentage, there you end with the answer of 16%. This one was a different kind of sum where they ask you what is 20% of 80. So that answer will just be a number. It's not 16%, just a number. So that 16 will be correct. Let's do another example. So you have 60% of 30. So now you already know that is 60 divided by 100 of his multiplication. And the 30, I'm going to write 30 over 1. So same with the previous example. You can just cancel that 0 and that 0. And there's another 0 at the bottom and a 0 at top. So here you have the 6 times 3. That is 18. 1 times 1. Let's write the other color. 1 times 1. That gives us 1. So the answer is just 18. So just keep in mind, we're dealing with 60% of that. And so for that, they just want the answer, and that is 18. Let me just show you now maybe a different trick you can also use. If they ask you 60% of 30, if you look on your page, 60%, okay, first write the 60 over 100 times 30, but you can also write 3 over 5 times 30, because remember, 60% equals 3 over 5 if you look on your page. So the reason I remember all of this is because I had a page when I was grade 7, and I looked at this a lot. That's why I know 80% is 4 over 5, and I can remember all of that. And so you will remember it as well. So, and now we have this part over here, and you can use the same principle, the simplify principle. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 30 divided by 5 is 6. And here you can see that 3 times 6 will also give you 18. The same like the previous sum. So I'm just showing you quickly how you can convert from 60 over 100 to 3 over 5. Or if you have a sum where they ask you what is 40% of let's say 50, then you can already say, if you see there's a 50, so you're going to know you're going to end with multiply by 50 over 1. Then instead of saying 40 over 100, I'm going to erase that and just say 4 over 10, because I know 40% equals 4 over 10. Again, this is on your page already, and I'm sure you know it by now. So I just write 4 over 10, and then you can see the sum is a little bit simpler where I just simplify the zeros, and then I can just write 4 times 5. 4 times 5 gives me 20. Then that's the answer. Lastly, they might ask a question, what is bigger, 15 over 50 or 8 over 25? Now we don't know. We can't really see what is bigger. But a way to make it bigger is to convert. So the first step is convert both to a percentage. And once you see the percentage, then you know, find the biggest one. Find the bigger, not number, the bigger percentage. So first convert both to a percentage, and then secondly, find the bigger percentage. So if you, let me just go back a little on the video to see how I worked out percentages, and then we are going to see what is bigger. But currently we don't know what is bigger. So I'm just gonna write the 8 over 25. I'm just gonna write here at the bottom. Right, so let's convert. So 15 over 50, we want to convert to a percentage. So I'm going to say times 100 over 1. That 0 cancel out with one of the zeros. Then I say 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And now we just have the 3 and 10 on top. That gives me 30. And a 1 and 1 at the bottom. So that's fine. So that answer is 30%. So remember, we are converting to a percent. That's why we multiply this by 100. And we can put that percent in there. Right, so the first one is 30%. Let's work out the second one. 8 over 25. Multiply that by 100. Then you say 25 divided by 25 is 1. 100 divided by 25 is 4. And then 3 times 4, that gives us 32. And now you can see there we have the 30. There we have the 32. So the green is 32. The blue is 30. So what is bigger? The bigger is a 32. Let's just do one last example of this one, and then we are complete. So let's do, what is bigger, 24 over 75 or 16 over 20? So let's do this one first. Multiply that by 100 over 1. Then we say, now I can see if I use a 25, I can see the 25 table in here. 25, 50, 75, 100. So there's a 75 and there's a 100. That's why I'm going to use the 25 times table. Okay, so I'm just going to, and if I say that, what I just mean is I say 75 by 25 is 3, and 100 divided by 25, that is 4. But I also see I have the 3 times table here. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 28 divided by 3 is 8. So now I'm going to say 8 multiplied by the 4, and that gives us 32. over 1, so that's fine. So the answer is just 32%. So let's do the bottom. Multiply this also with 100 over 1. So the zeros cancel out. Use the 2 times table. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 16 divided by 2 is 8. And then I just say 8 times 10, and that will be 80%. And there you can see the 80%, that is going to be the bigger one. Thank you. That was percentages. Just want to remind you again to keep that page that you have written down. Keep it handy, because maybe in this grade or in later grades, you're going to need that percentages and you're going to use it. But if you write it down and go through it a lot, and then you will understand it and do very well in mathematics. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.